That turn, that turn, blonde in the sun.
Supreme victory!
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while, sorry I've been gone for so long, but I've been doing some stuff behind the scenes. Been working on a cover, gonna be doing The End of Heartache next. And it's been giving me some trouble. I'm don't yell at me. I'm really bad at sound engineering and stuff, but I need to figure it out on my own. I gotta start getting better at this. But anyway, we're here to talk about the 2020 presidential debate, right? Number one just went down last night, and oh boy, it was a bit of a doozy, and it also didn't disappoint. It was entertaining as well. I think a lot of people are disappointed that it didn't actually happen with Joe Rogan. I tweeted out this this meme of how great would it be if Joe Rogan was hosting the debate with Alex Jones and Eddie Bravo. Can you imagine how insanely delicious that would be? There's nothing better. After that, it's like, might as well. It's time to just die. There's no point in living anymore. But no, we just got a regular format. No clapping or booing and stuff, which I actually did enjoy. It's kind of like the UFC without an audience. I actually enjoy it a lot more. That's one of the few sports that I enjoy without an audience, because it's kind of weird with basketball and football and whatnot. The crowd really makes it so much better. But the UFC, like just mixed martial arts in general, it's just so much more intimate, so that's pretty cool. And this was kind of cool for it to be like more intimate too, and people just clapping or booing like seals or drones or whatever, so that was kind of nice. But first off, I kind of want to say that I'm surprised that Biden didn't really, show, like, his senility didn't rear its ugly head. That was something that I was kind of anticipating, and to be honest, as much as I do want to see that, at the same time, I get like secondhand embarrassment. And there's a part of me that doesn't want to see it, because I'm like, oh, that's so cringe, and I have a hard time watching stuff like that. Like, I can watch people get hurt much more than them being like extremely embarrassed. That's just how it is. But in the very beginning, maybe it seemed like maybe something like that was gonna happen, but I think maybe it was nerves, because he was probably nervous. Like, Biden was probably nervous that, like, oh, is this gonna happen? And he seemed a little bit nervous in the beginning because of that. Like, getting nerves, anticipating something bad to happen, happens to a lot of people, right? When you like overthink things. So pretty much when Trump wouldn't shut his mouth, I feel like any signs of the nerves or anything that was happening kind of just went away. It just got to the point where I think Biden got annoyed, and then he just kind of got a little bit fired up, and then he was on the level. So just to kind of give you a vibe how it started off, that's how I saw it. And after that, when they started really getting into the questions, it just became back and forth shit show. Nobody finishing any points. People getting the 2 minutes to say something, but there's always more left to be said, because the idea of these debates are so silly to where we can't get to the meat and potatoes of an issue. And I'm definitely going to talk about some of the stuff that they talked about, and it's like, if they had the ability to elaborate, maybe people could have came out looking a little bit better or something, or maybe even worse, I don't know. So they started out with healthcare, which is always a huge topic, right? It's always one of the biggest things that people want to talk about. And to be honest, I couldn't care less about them talking about healthcare, because what's going on now and what Biden is proposing is just not what the people want. The people want to live like the rest of the Western civilization, and just, like, let's have some universal healthcare. Now, there's people always saying, well, but then so-and-so had to wait this and so-and-so had to wait that. And I'm like, yes, you're hearing these isolated stories. I know that you're saying this, and then you're assuming that everything's bad across the board. But I'm telling you that in a lot of scenarios in the United States as well, with the type of healthcare that people have, they have to wait as well. Like, oh, you have cancer. Well, your appointment's next month to get your treatment, or even just a further analysis or something like that. And then that time that you waited, you're pretty much, it's spread to the point where, oh, well, sorry. It happens. It happens everywhere. That's like, those incidents do happen. But the idea of people just being covered regularly and people not breaking the bank and having their lives ruined, I think that's a little bit more important. I think it's just a little bit more important just to have people have that net security, that safety net. I think that would be pretty nice, but that's not something that they're necessarily interested in. They're interested in their rich homies staying rich. They talked about coronavirus, of course, which was extremely unproductive, and of course it was going to be. It was just going to be some finger pointing. I knew that Trump was going to bring up that, hey, Biden, if it was for you, if you were in power, you would have kept the borders open with China because you were saying, oh, closing them is racist. And I gotta say, I agree with that. I do agree with that. It was getting way too partisan to the point where when the pandemic hit, and it's like, oh, I can't believe he's doing this. And it's like, why wouldn't he do that? The virus is coming from this place. Why wouldn't you shut it down? Who cares where it came from? Who cares? Like, it's just about wherever it's coming from. Those people can't come here because they're going to spread it faster. And that was something that obviously I knew Trump was going to use that, and rightfully so. It was a dumb partisan attack for Biden and whomever else, because there was a lot of people that were saying that stuff. It was stupid to say that. Y'all are just so swept up in tribalism and partisanship that you're not being real about this. Now, that's not to give Trump a pass, because everything that's happened with the pandemic, he hasn't handled it to the best of his abilities, obviously, not by a long shot. Obviously, somebody that's much smarter and somebody who actually knows a lot more about medicine and technology and science and whatnot, that can actually read the data and understand it themselves, can make better decisions. But Trump's the guy that watches TV and then give him a paragraph to summarize things, and then that's how he's going to make decisions from there. They also talked about taxes, and this is something that I didn't have enough time to, and I kind of wish I did look into it, because I was hearing that Trump only paid $750 in taxes for the past few years or something like that, and I've been so busy with this music thing that I didn't even check to see what was going on with that. And obviously Trump denied and said he paid millions of this and this and that, but here's the deal. I would be surprised if he paid $750 because of how corrupt this shit is, man. You see, like, the richer and wealthier you are, the less you're gonna have to pay. That's just how it goes. You get the waivers, you get the lobbyists to do the loopholes, you get all the special benefits. It's like I was thinking about the other day. I was like, man, the only positive side, the only benefit or argument to or for me to get rich and to get famous is so I can get more free stuff, right? At the point where I don't need it because I can buy it with my own money, but people just give you shit. You just kick a little bit some certain way and you're gonna get a lot in return. We all know this. This is no secret. I don't think anybody would be surprised that if that's 100% factual, if that's true, if he only paid $750. Like I said, I'd be surprised that he paid something at all. Like, what? Money actually came out of your bank account for taxes? You didn't get complete waivers with all the loopholes and stuff? Wow, man, you're slipping, man. You're slipping. You know, and I gotta say about this debate format, there's something that just really bothers me. It's the whole, like, the moderator will say, hey, please don't interrupt, let them talk, and then Trump was just going hard in the paint, just non-stop interrupting, which is really annoying. And it's to the point where I feel like maybe, just maybe, we could just cut people's mics off. Once your time is done, cut their mic off. So, because we can't, nobody, like, let me ask you guys, were any of you satisfied with any answers that were given? When there was a question thrown out and then there was an answer, were any of you satisfied? Because there's not enough time to answer, and there's not enough time to refute or rebut other points that are being made. Like the hour and a half that was allotted, that's not enough time. That's why the idea of Joe Rogan, it doesn't even have to be Joe Rogan, but just like more hours and more time to thoroughly discuss an idea. Imagine trying to discuss something as complex as the monetary system or something. A lot of people don't know the ins and outs of it, and then only having 5 minutes to do it. We've all talked about this, we've all criticized this before, but it's so much worse when you see how much Trump was interrupting. It's so much worse. And, you know, as much as I'm not a fan of these two guys, I gotta give Joe a little bit of props for calling Trump a clown. I thought that was pretty funny. So, of course, the topic of race was going to come up, and that was where things got pretty awkward because Trump was kind of avoiding some of the questions, but at the same time saying that, you know, nobody's helped out blacks more than him. Okay. And, of course, Trump brought up Biden's crime bill, which is, yeah, obviously he was going to bring that up. That Biden is largely responsible for mass incarceration that's taken place. And a lot of Democrats are having cognitive dissonance because obviously if Trump signed the crime bill, introduced this and pushed it and repped it and still defended it, it would be like the worst thing in the world for him. And he'd be like, here is the definitive proof that Trump hates black and brown people. He's trying to keep them down. He's trying to systematically oppress them. 100%. Oh, wait, it was Biden? Well, it was a long time ago. You know, I'm sure he's a different person. I've heard arguments like this. It was a long time ago. Holy shit, you know it was a long time ago too? When the KKK started. What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? You're still feeling the remnants of those motherfuckers being there. Or Jim Crow or something. What does it mean that it was a long time ago? You still feel some of that shit, right? Not that I'm saying that it's like as bad as everybody like would like to convince you or the media would convince you to say, but you know, the effects and the remnants are there. Just like with the crime bill, just like with Jim Crow, or anything that just really fucked with people. It's still there. It hasn't completely dissipated. It's not completely gone. And that's the cognitive dissonance that you see. It sucks, man. It sucks. It's super disingenuous. But at the same time, if I can step into the minds of these people that are experiencing the cognitive dissonance, I understand the desperation. I do. The media and everybody has fed you a narrative of the type of person that Trump is. I see what type of person Trump is, but I see it differently from what the media paints. I don't think Trump is Hitler incarnate. I think he's a buffoon, and it's no secret. If you've been paying attention to me and watching my shit since 2016, you know that I was not a fan. You know that when I've defended him against some erroneous charges, I said that it's not an endorsement. You can check my catalog. All right? But I still was never down for this dude. Especially when he's fucking, I don't even need to get into it. I was going to talk about Syria, but people know that I'm really against the military-industrial complex, and I can't back people that are just going to keep pimping that shit out, dude. Now, the weirdest and most awkward thing and most interesting and troubling thing that happened in the entire debate was the talk about would Trump denounce white supremacy. And I gotta say, like, I tweeted out that he was kind of bobbing and weaving, you know, he was kind of like really just dodging that stuff, you know, and that's it. I gotta admit, that is suspect, but I also have speculations. You know, he did say, I saw some people trying to defend him. I don't know, like, that's when you just on Trump's nuts so much that, I mean, he didn't. Imagine asking me, like, hey, Derek, could you help me move? You know, I'm moving, and I say, sure. And then I just don't do it. That's what happened. Because people are like, oh, he said sure. I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. That's where your time to elaborate. Say something. White supremacy has no place in America. He could have just done something like that and sit people down. He didn't do that. Instead, he gave a shout out to the Proud Boys. Now, here's the deal. Mainstream media and everybody else that hates Trump, they think the Proud Boys are racist. I'm going to be honest. I have looked into them a few times just to see, like, am I missing something? I saw who started. I saw Gavin McInnes started it. And then he's not in it anymore because it doesn't represent, I guess, what he wanted it to represent. And I've seen black and Mexican people. I've seen plenty of people in it that I feel like a white supremacist group would not want them in there. So I am a little bit confused to where that charge is coming from. To me, it looks like a charge that, say for example, my homie Chris Ray Gun. there are people that accuse him of being alt-right, and there are people that also accuse him of being a communist. I feel like that's what's happening. It's like, I don't see the actual evidence of that being a thing. But at the same time, I have no allegiance to the Proud Boys. I don't give a shit about them. If there is definitive proof, please send it my way, and I'll absolutely, I'll cop to it. I'll be like, oh shit, yeah, these guys are racist as fuck. But I personally just haven't seen it. Anyway, it was also weird that Biden was dancing around the topic of Antifa, though, because, you know, Trump would bring that up. And something interesting happened. I had a conversation with my mom, and then she asked me what Antifa was. And she said that, you know, she watches, like, the news or things like The View or whatever. And they were in the dark on that stuff, too. And it kind of just, like, went off. Or I'm assuming that people know what Antifa is. But the problem is, kind of like what Biden said, was that it's just an idea. So like an ideology? Is it like a practice? What are you saying, Biden? I guess what you're trying to say is that it's just abstract, but there's enough people that identify themselves as Antifa for it to just be an abstract idea. You know what I'm saying? Which I think, well, maybe both can exist, right, simultaneously. But there's definitely people that consider themselves this thing, and then they like to go around and just fuck shit up. They like to cosplay, and they like to pretend that they're fighting fascism, but then they end up being fascist in return. This is not a secret, and this is not something new. You can go back to actual fascist regimes, sorry. I don't know what the hell's going on with my teeth. They're like messing up my speech. But you can go all the way back, and people will say the same thing. The anti-fascists that propped up were being just as fascist or even more. I've made videos about this. I've used quotes. I don't need to get into it, but it's a thing that is reality. And there's a lot of people that are progressive ideologues that would have you believe otherwise. Basically, the idea is not to let any extreme gain too much traction or give it excuses. You know, dude that killed the Trump supporter and gets an interview with Vice or whatever, and it's just like, no big deal. Meanwhile, you had those alt-right pieces of shit that killed that one chick, and it was the end of the fucking world. Why aren't both things bad? I don't understand. I thought killing somebody because of their ideals is not a good thing. So why is that cool? Why was nobody talking shit about that? But why was everybody talking shit about that? You see what I'm trying to say? I personally do believe this, without being tribal, that all of that behavior is fucking garbage. And I'm not gonna take sides and be like, one's better than the other. One has better ideals. One's this and that. I'm like, if you are being violent and if you're trying to kill people, I don't want anything to do with you. It's as simple as that, man. But that's all I got for you guys. There was obviously so much more to cover, but I just wanted to hit on those little points there. And let me know what you thought about the debate. Let me know who you thought won. Personally, I don't think anybody won. It didn't, like, there was nothing that stood out to me personally that I'm like, oh yeah, I believe in what you guys are saying. To me, they're both fucking clowns. They're politicians. They're liars. They're gonna continue lying to you. They promise shit and then they don't get it done. And then we're gonna continue down that same cycle. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm just observing what keeps happening. I'm gonna be back with more content pretty soon. Take care and stay hot.